السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Inshallah, we will begin today with juz number 5. And before we do so, just would like to remind everyone that the tartib for our classes will remain as a Quranic recitation, then followed by it there will be translation, tarjuma, in English, and then along with these translation, inshallah, there will be some explanation, tafsir as well. In any case, I would just like to remind everyone that if there are any questions that you may have, please feel free to ask these questions, and inshallah they'll be answered at the end of the program, or you may email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Jazakallah khair. So let us begin our program, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والمحصنات من النساء إلا ما ملكت أيمانكم كتاب الله عليكم وحل لكم ما وراء ذلكم أن تبتغوا بأموالكم محسنين غير مسافحين فما استمتعتم به منهن فآتوهن أجورهن فريضة ولا جناح عليكم فيما تراضيتم به من بعد الفريضة إن الله كان عليما حكيما. Also prohibited are the women already bound in marriage, except the bondwomen you come to own. It has been written by Allah for you. All women except for these have been permitted for you to seek to marry through your wealth, binding yourself in marriage, and not only for lust. So to those of them whose company you have enjoyed, give their dues dowry as obligated. There is no sin on you in what you mutually agree upon after the initial agreement. Surely Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So this it means that the amount of dowry can be increased or decreased by mutual consent any time after the marriage. ومن لم يستطع منكم طولا أن ينكح المحسنات المؤمنات فمما ملكت أيمانكم من فتياتكم المؤمنات والله أعلم بإيمانكم بعضكم من بعض فانكحوهن بإذن أهلهن وآتوهن أجورهن بالمعروف محسنات غير مسافحات ولا متخذات أخدان فإذا أحسن فإن أتين بفاحشة فعليهن نصف ما على المحصنات من العذاب ذلك لمن خشي العنة منكم وأن تصبروا خير لكم والله غفور رحيم. If one cannot afford to marry the free Muslim woman, then he may marry the one you people own of your Muslim girls. Allah knows best about your faith. You're similar to each other, so marry them with the permission of their masters, and give them their dues as recognized, they being bound in marriage, not going for lust, nor giving paramours. So once they have been bound in marriage, then if they commit a shameful act, they shall be liable to half of the punishment prescribed for the free woman. That is for those of you who apprehend to indulge in sin, but that you may be patient is better for you. Allah is most forgiving, very merciful. So the sense is that marrying slave girls is advisable for a person who cannot afford to marry a free woman and consequently apprehends that he will indulge in illicit relations. So it's not suitable for a person who can afford to marry a free woman or someone that can control themselves. But it should be noted that these rules relating to slaves were applicable when legal slavery was in existence. Of course, in our days, slaves are not available, and therefore we should not confuse them with servants or artificially enslaved people who are not slaves according to Sharia. يريد الله ليبين لكم ويهديكم سنن الذين من قبلكم ويتوب عليكم الله عليم حكيم. Allah intends through this Quran to explain to you the rules and to guide you to the ways of those prophets who passed before you, and to turn graciously towards you. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما. Allah intends to turn graciously towards you, while those who follow desires want you to deviate from the right path, a huge deviation. يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا. Allah intends to make things easy on you, and man has been created weak. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما. O you who believe, do not devour each other's property by false means, unless it is trade conducted with your mutual consent. Do not kill one another. Indeed, Allah has been very merciful to you. ومن يفعل ذلك عدوانا وظلما فسوف نصليه نارا وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا. Whoever does that out of aggression and injustice, we shall cast him into the fire. This is an easy thing for Allah. إن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما. If you abstain from the major sins out of what you have been forbidden from, we shall write off your minor sins and shall admit you to a noble entrance. ولا تتمنوا ما فضل الله به بعضكم على بعض للرجال نصيب مما اكتسبوا وللن ولن وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبن واسأل الله من فضله إن الله كان بكل شيء عليما. Do not covet something in which Allah has made some of you superior to others. For men, there is a share of what they earned, and for women, a share of what they earned. Pray to Allah for His grace. Surely Allah is all aware of everything. So Allah has created different people with different qualities according to His wisdom. And there are qualities that are beyond one's power and control, like manhood, physical health, strength, beauty, intelligence, etc. So these are the types of qualities that this ayah forbids to covet. So if someone is superior to another in some of these qualities, and another person yearns to be like the former, or even superior to that person, so it will result in nothing but remorse or jealousy. So you must think that Allah has given to him some qualities that are missing in the other. However, there are some qualities that may be earned through one's effort and endeavor, like being pious, being honest, hardworking, knowledgeable, generous, etc. So one shouldn't long only for qualities like those qualities that you don't have much control over, but should make their best efforts to achieve them. ولكل جعلنا موالي مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون والذين عقدت أيمانكم فآتوهم نصيبهم إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا. For everyone we have made heirs in what the parents and the nearest of kin have left. As for those with whom you have made a pledge, give them their shares. Surely Allah is a witness over everything. So when the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in migrated to Medina with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, most of their relatives remained in Mecca, and so it was ordained for some of them that on the demise of an immigrant, his ally or from Ansar, his supporter from Medina, would be his legal heir. So this verse or this ayah, it abrogated that rule. It says that after the detailed law of inheritance laid down in ayah 11 and 12 before, it is the parents and the nearest of kin will inherit the property of a deceased. However, if when they enter into the fold of Islam and they made a pledge with a Muslim that they will inherit each other, then in absence of any heir from the kinsman, they may be regarded as the legal heirs of one another. So the one who acquires the status of a legal heir through a pledge is termed as Mawla al-Muwalla. فالرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا. Men are caretakers of women, since Allah has made some of them excel the others, and because of the wealth they have spent, so the righteous women are obedient and guard the property and honor of their husbands in their absence with the protection given by Allah. As for women of whom you fear rebellion, convince them and leave them apart in beds and beat them. Then, if they obey you, do not seek a way against them. Surely Allah is the highest, the greatest. So these are the three stages for correcting the behavior of one's wife. When an earlier stage is sufficient, it is not allowed to resort to the next one. So particularly Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given clear directions about the third stage, and that it should be the last resort in a very extreme situation. So, in a number of hadith, he has condemned the practice of beating women, and he is reported to have said that good people among you would never beat women. And this is a hadith from Bayhaqi. No prophet has ever been a woman. Even in an extreme situation where the Quran has allowed beating, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has, in its explanation, prohibited slapping on the face or any act that may leave a mark on the body. وإن خفتم شقاق بينهما فابعثوا حكما من أهله وحكما من أهلها إن يريدا إصلاحا يوفق الله بينهما إن الله كان عليما خبيرا. If you fear a split between the spouses, send one arbitrator from his people and one from her people. If they desire to set things right, Allah shall bring about harmony between them. Surely Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا. Worship Allah and do not associate with Him anything, and be good parents, and be good to parents and to kinsmen and orphans, and the needy and the close neighbor and the distant neighbor, and the companion at your side, and the wayfarer, and to those slaves who are owned by you. Surely Allah does not like those who are arrogant or proud. So this refers to a co-traveler, the companion at your side, a person sitting on one side in a gathering or standing by him in a row, so on and so forth, right? So this ayah signifies that one should have good and courteous behavior, even with such a temporary neighbor or companion. الذين يبخلون ويأمرون الناس بالبخل ويكتمون ما آتاهم الله من فضله وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا. Those who are miserly and bid people to be miserly and conceal what Allah has given them of His grace, and we have prepared for the disbelievers a humiliating punishment. والذين ينفقون أموالهم رئاء الناس ولا يؤمنون بالله وباليوم الآخر ومن يكن الشيطان له قرينا فساء قرينا. And for those who spend their wealth only to show people and do not believe in Allah and the last day, anyone for whom shaitan is a companion evil, he is as a companion. وماذا عليهم لو آمنوا بالله واليوم الآخر وأنفقوا مما رزقهم الله وكان الله بهم عليما. What harm was there for them if they had believed in Allah and the last day and spent out of what Allah had given them? Allah knows all about them. إن الله لا يظلم مثقال ذرة وإن تك حسنة يضاعفها ويؤتي من لدنه أجرا عظيما. Surely Allah does not wrong anyone, even to the measure of a particle. If it is a good deed, He multiplies it and gives a great reward out of His own pleasure. فكيف إذا جئنا من كل أمة بشهيد وجئنا بك على هؤلاء شهيدا. Then how awful a spectacle would be when we shall bring a witness from every community and shall bring you over them as a witness. يومئذ يود الذين كفروا وعصوا الرسول لو تسوى بهم الأرض ولا يكتمون الله حديثا. On that day, those who have disbelieved and disobeyed the messenger shall wish that the earth were leveled with them. They shall not be able to conceal anything from Allah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون ولا جنبا إلا عابري سبيل حتى تغتسلوا وإن كنتم مرضى أو على سفر أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط أو لامستم النساء فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا سعيدا طيبا فامسحوا بوجوهكم وأيديكم إن الله كان عفوا غفورا. All you who believe, do not go near Salah when you are intoxicated until you know what you say, nor in a state of major impurity, save when you are traversing a way until you take a bath. If you are sick or in travel, or if any one of you has come has come after relieving himself, or you have contact with women and you find no water, go for some clean dust and wipe your faces and hands with it. Surely Allah is most pardoning, most forgiving. Here, the major impurity, it stands for janaba, which signifies a ritual impurity caused by sexual relations or seminal discharge in sexual passion or dreams, after which a bath becomes fard. So this ayat states that one should not offer salah in such a state nor in a state of intoxication. So I should also note that this ayah was revealed when alcohol was not prohibited, uh, but it contained a hint that liquor is something detestable, which does not suit a worshipper. So the reason why this ayah mentions that uh, do not go near salah when you are intoxicated, implying that at the time before alcohol was forbidden, the Sahaba would drink alcohol, and this ayah or this part of the ayah forbade that act, and then later on, the drinking of alcohol was forbidden completely. And as for save when you are traversing a way, this is an exception to the rule that salah cannot be offered in the state of major impurity before having a bath. So it means that a traveler who does not find water to have a bath may offer salah uh, without without that bath after making tayammum, uh, as the next sentence or the next part of the ayah explains. And that next part of the ayah explains that uh, tayammum may be performed when water is not available, and this type of lack of availability only happens or normally happens during a journey or whenever someone is sick and they're unable to use water or for whatever reason it may be. So it's also explained that it is allowed in both kinds of impurities. So major or minor, you may use tayammum for either. ألم تر إلى الذين أوتوا نصيب من الكتاب يشترون الضلالة ويريدون أن تضلوا السبيل. Have you not observed those who have been given a share from the book? They buy misguidance and wish that you too lose the way. والله أعلم بأعدائكم وكفى بالله وليا وكفى بالله نصيرا. But Allah knows your enemies very well. Allah is enough as a friend, and Allah is enough as a supporter. من الذين هادوا يحرفون الكلمة عن مواضعه ويقولون سمعنا وعصينا واسمع غير مسمع وراعنا ليا بألسنتهم وطعنا في الدين ولو أنهم قالوا سمعنا وأطعنا واسمع وانظرنا لكان خيرا لهم أقوم ولكن لعنهم الله بكفرهم فلا يؤمنون إلا قليلا. Among the Jews there are some who distort the words against their context and say, we hear and disobey, and hear may you not be made to hear, and ra'ina, twisting their tongues and maligning the faith. If they had said, we hear and obey, and hear and look after us, it would have been better for them and more proper. But Allah has cast His curse on them due to their disbelief, so they do not believe except a few. So all of these words have two different meaning. One is benign and the other is malignant. So they pretended to mean the benign and favorable meanings, but in reality, they meant the contrary. So in we hear and we and disobey, they pretended to mean uh, we listen to you and disobey your parent to and disobey your opponents. And when saying hear, may you not be made to hear, they pretended to mean, may you not be made to hear anything that hurts you. But they actually meant, may you not be made to hear anything that makes you happy. Uh, and this was explained in Surah Baqarah as well. When they said Ra'ina, they pretended to use it in the Arabic sense, but instead they meant it in the uh, Hebrew meaning, which is a curse. Ra'ina, the meaning for it is take care of us. يا أيها الذين أوتوا الكتاب آمنوا بما نزلنا مصدقا لما معكم من قبل أن نطمس وجوها فنردها على أدبارها أو نلعنهم كما لعنا أصحاب السبت وكان أمر الله مفعولا. O you have been given the book, believe in what we have revealed, confirming what is with you, before we rub our faces and turn them shaped like their backs, or lay a curse upon them, as we curse the people of Sabbath. Whatever Allah orders is destined to occur. إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء ومن يشرك بالله فقد افترى إثما عظيما. Surely Allah does not forgive that a partner is ascribed to him, and He forgives anything short of that for whomsoever He wills. Whoever ascribes a partner to Allah commits a terrible sin. So this means that Allah may forgive any sin, even without repentance at His own discretion, except the sin of ascribing partners to Him, which cannot be forgiven unless one repents and believes in Tawheed. ألم تر إلى الذين يزكون أنفسهم بل الله يزكي من يشاء ولا يظلمون فتيلا. Have you not seen those who claim sanctity for themselves? In fact, Allah sanctifies whom He wills, and they shall not be wronged even to the measure of a thread of a date stone. انظر كيف يفترون على الله الكذب وكفى به إثما مبينا. See how they fabricate a lie against Allah, and it is enough to be an open sin. ألم تر إلى الذين أوتوا نصيب من الكتاب يؤمنون بالجبت والطاغوت ويقولون للذين كفروا هؤلاء أهدى من الذين آمنوا سبيلا. Have you not seen those who have been given a share from their book? They believe in Jibt and Taghut, and say concerning those who disbelieve, they are better guided in their way than those who believe. So, Jibt is originally the name of an idol, but it's used for every false god, as well as sorcery. So, Taghut, it literally means rebel. It's used for shaitan, it's used for evil, and it's used for falsehood. And some of the Jews, they had gone to the pagans of Mecca, and in order to gain their support against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they praised their idols and declared that the pagans are better in their religion than the Muslims. And this verse, or this quotation rather, it refers to the statement of the Jews. أولئك الذين لعنهم الله ومن يلعن الله فلا تجد له نصيرا. Those are the ones whom Allah has cursed, and the one whom Allah has cursed, for him you shall find no helper. أم لهم نصيب من الملك فإذا لا يؤتون الناس نقيرا. Is it that they have a share in the kingdom? If so, they would give nothing to the people, not even to the measure of a tiny pit on the back of a date stone. The sense is that if they had any sort of kingdom, they would have been so miserly that they will not give anything to anyone. And this is why, this is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given them any such power. أم يحسدون الناس على ما آتاهم الله من فضله فقد آتينا آل إبراهيم الكتاب والحكمة وآتيناهم ملكا عظيما. Or is it that they are jealous of power of people over what Allah has given them of His bounty? Well, we have given to the house of Ibrahim the book and the wisdom, and we have given to them a great kingdom. So this means that the Jews are rejecting the truth because of the jealousy. They're annoyed because Allah has bestowed prophethood and political power on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is not an Israelite. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is also from the progeny of Ibrahim alayhi salam, whose many children were given both messengership and kingdom. So both religious power and political authority. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ آمَنَ بِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ صَدَّ عَنْهُ وَكَفَى بِجَهَنَّمَ سَعِيرًا. So there were some among them who believed in it, and there were others among them who turned away from it. Enough is Jahannam for the latter, a fire ablaze. إن الذين كفروا بآياتنا سوف نصليهم نارا كلما نضجت جلودهم بدلناهم جلودا غيرها ليذوقوا العذاب إن الله كان عزيزا حكيما. Those who disbelieved in our verses, we shall certainly make them enter a fire. Whenever their skins are burnt out, we shall give them other skins in their place, so that they may taste the punishment. Surely Allah is Almighty, All-Wise. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سندخلهم جنات تجري من تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا لهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وندخلهم ظلا ظليلا. As for those who have believed and have done good deeds, we shall admit them to gardens beneath which rivers flow, where they will live forever. For them there are wives purified. We shall admit them to an umbrageous shade. إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا. Surely Allah commands you to deliver trust to those entitled to them, and that when you judge between people, judge with justice. Surely excellent is the exhortation Allah gives you. Surely Allah is all-hearing, all-seeing. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those in authority among you. Then, if you quarrel about something, revert it back to Allah and the Messenger. If you believe in Allah and the Last Day, that is good and the best at the end. So this means that take the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the final authority in your arguments. ألم تر إلى الذين يزعمون أنهم آمنوا بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت وقد أمروا أن يكفروا به ويريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا. Have you not seen those who claim that they believed in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you? They want to take their disputes to the Taghut while they were ordered to reject it. Shaitan wants to mislead them to a remote wrong way. So this ayah and the following verses, they were revealed in the context of some incidents in which certain hypocrites suggested that their disputes should be brought to the Jews or to some soothsayers instead of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because they knew he would judge objectively. They wanted a judgment in favor of one of the parties. And so his decision, the decision of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would very likely go against them. So Taghut, as explained before, refers to shaitan or any false deity. Here, it refers to the person they wanted to judge between them, either a Jew or a soothsayer. So when the hypocrites were criticized that despite their claim to be Muslims, they agreed to submit to the decision of someone other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they gave the excuse that they went to the Jews or soothsayer only as a matter of compromise and not for formal litigation. So this is the import of their statement quoted in the next verse, inshallah. وإذا قيل لهم تعالوا إلى ما أنزل الله وإلى الرسول رأيت المنافقين يصدون عنك صدودا. When it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed and to the Messenger, you will see the hypocrites turning away from you in aversion. فكيف إذا أصابتهم مصيبة بما قدمت أيديهم ثم جاءوك يحلفون بالله إن أردنا إلا إحسانا وتوفيقا. But how apologetic they are when they suffer a calamity because of the acts of their own hands, and they come to you swearing by Allah, we meant nothing but to promote good and bring about harmony. أولئك الذين يعلم الله ما في قلوبهم فأعرض عنهم وعظهم وقل لهم في أنفسهم قولا بليغا. Those are the ones Allah knows what is in their hearts, so ignore them and give them good counsel and speak to them about themselves in appealing words. وما أرسلنا من رسول إلا ليطاع بإذن الله ولو أنهم إذ ظلموا أنفسهم جاءوك فاستغفروا الله واستغفر لهم الرسول لوجدوا الله توابا رحيما. We do not send any messenger but to be obeyed by the leave of Allah. Had they, after having wronged themselves, come to you and sought forgiveness from Allah, and had the messenger prayed for their forgiveness, they would have certainly have found Allah most relenting, very merciful. فلا وربك لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. So never by your Rabb shall never they become believers unless they make you the judge in the disputes that arise between them, and find no discomfort in their hearts against what you have decided, and surrender to it in total submission. ولو أن كتبنا عليهم أن اقتلوا أنفسكم أو اخرجوا من دياركم ما فعلوه إلا قليل منهم ولو أنهم فعلوا ما يوعظون به لكان خيرا لهم وأشد تثبيتا. We had if we had prescribed for them that they should kill themselves or that they should migrate from their homeland, they would not have done it, except a few of them. If they had done what they were advised to do, it would have been better for them and more effective in making them firm. So, on the basis of the incidents that were mentioned before, some Jews taunted that those claiming to be Muslims do not obey their Prophet ﷺ. Well, the Jews were so obedient to the Prophet that when he ordered them to kill themselves, they killed themselves. So the verse, this ayah says that if Allah orders them to do so now, they wouldn't do it except a few of them. وَإِذًا لَآتَيْنَاهُمْ مِنْ لَدُنَّا أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. In that case, we would certainly have given them a great reward. وَلَهَدَيْنَاهُمْ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. And we would certainly have led them to a straight path. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فأولئك مع الذين أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. Those who obey Allah and the Messenger are with those whom Allah has blessed, namely the prophets, the Siddiqeen, the Shuhada, and the righteous, and excellent are they as companions. So Siddiq, this means the very truthful people. In Islamic terminology, it normally refers to those companions of a prophet who excel all others in their submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they enjoy the highest status of piety after the prophets alayhim salam, like Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, and the shuhada, the martyrs, uh, the people who sacrifice their lives in the way of Allah. So it's not translated here as martyr, which is usually taken as the equivalent of a shaheed, but the martyr here is also applied for the people killed in ethnic or racial wars. Well, they may not be termed as shuhada according to Islamic terminology. ذلك الفضل من الله وكفى بالله عليما. That grace is from Allah and Allah is sufficient as being the one who knows. يا أيها الذين آمنوا خذوا حذركم فانفروا ثبات وانفروا جميعا. O you who believe, be on your guard and march in groups or march altogether. وإن منكم لمن ليبطئن فإن أصابتكم مصيبة قال قد أنعم الله علي إذ لم أكن معهم شهيدا. Among you there is one who shall invariably fall back. Then if some calamity befalls you, he would say, Allah has shown his favor to me, as I was not present with them. This ayah refers to the hypocrites. وَلَئِنْ أَصَابَكُمْ فَضْلٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لَيَقُولَنَّ كَأَن لَّمْ تَكُن بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُ مَوَدَّةٌ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنتُ مَعَهُمْ فَأَفُوزَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. And if some bounty comes to you from Allah, He will certainly say, as if there was no friendship between you and Him, "Oh, would that I have had been with them, then I would have secured a handsome gain." فليقاتل في سبيل الله الذين يشرون الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة ومن يقاتل في سبيل الله فيقتل أو يغلب فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما. So those who sell the worldly life for the hereafter should fight in the way of Allah. Whoever fights in the way of Allah then gets killed or prevails, we shall give a great reward to him. وما لكم لا تقاتلون في سبيل الله والمستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان الذين يقولون ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالم أهلها واجعل لنا من لدنك وليا واجعل لنا من لدنك نصيرا. What has happened to you that you do not fight in the way of Allah, and for the oppressed among men, women and children who say, Our Rabb, take us out from this town whose people are cruel, and make for us a supporter from your own, and make for us a helper from your own. الذين آمنوا يقاتلون في سبيل الله والذين كفروا يقاتلون في سبيل الطاغوت فقاتلوا أولياء الشيطان إن كيد الشيطان كان ضعيفا. The believers fight in the way of Allah, and the disbelievers fight in the way of Taghut. So fight the friends of Shaitan. No doubt the guile of Shaitan is feeble. ألم تر إلى الذين قيل لهم كفوا أيديكم وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة فلما كتب عليهم القتال إذا فريق منهم يخشون الناس كخشية الله أو أشد خشية وقالوا ربنا لما كتبت علينا القتال لولا أخرتنا إلى أجل قريب قل متاع الدنيا قليل والآخرة خير لمن اتقى ولا تظلمون فتيلا. Have you not seen those to whom it was said, Hold your hands from fighting and be steadfast in salah and pay zakah? However, when fighting is enjoined upon them, then surprisingly a group from them starts fearing people as one would fear Allah, or fearing even more. They say, Our Rabb, why have you enjoined fighting upon us? Would you have not spared us for a little more time? Say, the enjoyment of the world is but a little, and the hereafter is far better for the one who fears Allah, and you shall not be wronged, even to the measure of a fiber. So when the Muslims they were being persecuted in Mecca, they asked Rasulullah for permission to fight in their defense, but they were ordered to endure the hardship with patience, avoid fighting, and attend to salah, zakah, and other modes of worship, so that they developed spiritual qualities required for jihad. But when they migrated to Medina and jihad was enjoined upon them, some of them felt it difficult to leave the peaceful life they had just started after a long time of persecution and trial. So this ayah refers to those people. أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة وإن تصبهم حسنة يقول هذه من عند الله وإن تصبهم سيئة يقول هذه من عندك قل كل من عند الله فما لهؤلاء القوم لا يكادون يفقهون حديثا. Wherever you will be, death will overtake you, even though you are in fortified castles. If some good comes to them, they say this is from Allah, but if some evil visits them, they say this is from you. Say all is from Allah. So what is wrong with these people? They do not seem to understand anything. So that part of the ayah refers to the Jews who were well off in Medina before Rasulullah migrated there. But when he came to Medina and the Jews rejected his call towards Islam, they suffered a decline in their income as punishment for their rejection. So at this point, they blamed Rasulullah that their misfortune was caused by him. The present ayah refutes them by saying that prosperity and misfortune both are by the will of Allah and according to His wisdom. ما أصابك من حسنة فمن الله وما أصابك من سيئة فمن نفسك وأرسلناك للناس رسولا وكفى بالله شهيدا. Whatever good comes to you, it is from Allah, and whatever evil visits you, it comes from your own selves. We have sent you to be a messenger for the people. Allah is enough to be a witness. So the sense is that if someone acquires something good, it is merely a grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if he is disobedient, he does not deserve any blessing from Allah. And if he is disobedient, or if he is obedient, his obedience is always short of what he owed towards Allah. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no liability towards anyone. On the other hand, if someone faces a calamity or a hardship, it is always attributable to some of his own misdeeds. من يطيع الرسول فقد أطاع الله ومن تولى فما أرسلناك عليهم حفيظا. Whoever obeys the messenger obeys Allah, and whoever turns away, then we do not send you to stand guard over them. ويقولون طاعة فإذا برزوا من عندك بيت طائفة منهم غير الذي تقول والله يكتب ما يبيتون فأعرض عنهم وتوكل على الله وكفى بالله وكيلا. They say obedience we observe, but when they go away from you, a group of them conspires at night, contrary to what they say. Allah records what they conspire, so ignore them and put your trust in Allah. Allah is enough to trust in. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. Do they not then ponder about the Quran? Had it been from someone other than Allah, they would have found in it a great deal of discrepancy. وإذا جاءهم أمر من الأمن أو الخوف أذاعوا به ولو ردوه إلى الرسول وإلى أولي الأمر منهم لعلمه الذين يستنبطونه منهم ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته لاتبعتم الشيطان إلا قليلا. When news concerning peace or fear comes to them, they go about spreading it. Had they referred it to the messenger and to those having authority among them, the truth of the matter would have come to the knowledge of them who are able to investigate. But for Allah's grace upon you and mercy, you would have followed the shaitan, save a few. So these ayat, they refer to the hypocrites. Uh, and this ayah says that they spread rumors among Muslims in both states of war and peace. The ayah directs the Muslims that instead of relying on them and passing them on to the others, they should convey these rumors to administrative authorities who may verify their correctness. So if rumors spread without verification, it may create confusion in uh, uh, it may it may create confusion in and at times a big loss to the community. فقاتل في سبيل الله لا تكلف إلا نفسك وحرض المؤمنين عسى الله أن يكف بأس الذين كفروا والله أشد بأسا وأشد تنكيلا. So fight in the way of Allah. You are not responsible but for yourself, and persuade the believers to fight in Allah's way. It is likely that Allah will prevent the mischief of those who disbelieve. Allah is the strongest in power and the mightiest in punishing. ما يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكن له نصيب منها ومن يشفع شفاعة سيئة يكن له كفل منها وكان الله على كل شيء مقيتا. Whoever makes a good recommendation, there shall be for him a share from it in the hereafter, and whoever makes a bad recommendation, there shall be for him a share from it. Allah is powerful over everything. وإذا حييتم بتحية فحيوا بأحسن منها أو ردوها إن الله كان على كل شيء حسيبا. When you are greeted with the salutation, greet with one better than it, or return the same. Surely Allah is the one who takes account of everything. الله لا إله إلا هو لا يجمعنكم إلى يوم القيامة لا ريب فيه ومن أصدق من الله حديثا. Allah, there is none worthy of worship besides Him. He shall certainly gather you towards the day of doom. There is no doubt about it. Who is more truthful in his word than Allah? فَمَا لَكُمْ فِي الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِئَتَيْنِ وَاللَّهُ أَرْكَسَهُم بِمَا كَسَبُوا أتريدون أن تهدوا من أضل الله ومن يضلل الله فلن تجد له سبيلا. So what is the matter with you that you have become two groups about the hypocrites, while Allah has reverted them because of what they did? Do you want to guide the one whom Allah has let go astray? The one whom Allah lets go astray, you shall never find a way for him. So some people from Mecca, they came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they pretended to have embraced Islam. But after a while, they turned back and left for Mecca on the pretext of taking a business trip. So some Muslims believed that they were still Muslims, while others believed that they had turned away. So this ayah discloses that they never embraced Islam in the first place. They were hypocrites and they came to deceive the Muslims. And after their departure, they abandoned even their claim of being Muslims. And so the next ayah, it speaks of their real designs and orders the Muslims to kill them wherever they are found. ودوا لو تكفرون كما كفروا فتكونون سواء فلا تتخذوا منهم أولياء حتى يهاجروا في سبيل الله فإن تولوا فخذوهم واقتلوهم حيث وجدتموهم ولا تتخذوا منهم وليا ولا نصيرا. They wish that you should disbelieve as they have disbelieved, and so you become all alike. So do not take friends from among them unless they migrate in the way of Allah. Then if they turn away, seize them and kill them wherever you find them, and do not take from among them a friend or helper. إلا الذين يصلون إلى قوم بينكم وبينهم ميثاق أو جاءوكم حسرت صدورهم أن يقاتلوكم أو يقاتلوا قومهم ولو شاء الله لسلطهم عليكم فلقاتلوكم فإن اعتزلوكم فلم يقاتلوكم وألقوا إليكم السلام فما جعل الله لكم عليهم سبيلا, except those who join a group between whom and you there is a treaty, or who come to you with their hearts feeling discomfort in fighting either against you or against their own people. If Allah had so willed, He would have given them power over you, then they would have fought you. So if they stay away from you and do not fight you and offer you peace, then Allah has not given you any authority against them. So the previous ayah has ordered to kill the disbelievers mentioned in the previous ayah. So this order included all those disbelievers. Now the next ayah, it exempts those who have a peace treaty with the Muslims or those who join them in the treaty. So similarly, those who come to the Muslims and say that they don't want to or they don't like to fight anyone, neither the Muslims nor their own people, and they want to remain in peace, they are also exempted from this order of killing. ستجدون آخرين يريدون أن يأمنوكم ويأمنوا قومهم كلما ردوا إلى الفتنة يركسوا فيها فإن لم يعتزلوكم ويلقوا إليكم السلام ويكفوا أيديهم فخذوهم واقتلوهم حيث ثقفتموهم وأولئكم جعلنا لكم عليهم سلطانا مبينا. You will find others who want to secure from you and secure from their own people, but whenever they are called back to the mischief, they are plunged into it. So if they do not stay away from you and do not offer peace to you and do not restrain their hands, then seize them and kill them wherever you find them. And we have given you an open authority against them. So this ayah refers to a third category of people who, as mentioned before, would approach the Muslims to seek peace and then pretend that they do not like fighting anyone, neither the Muslims nor their own people. But they weren't honest in their claim. So if they're invited by the opponents of the Muslims to join them against the Muslims, they violated their pledge with the Muslims. So this ayah orders that such people should also be killed, like the first group mentioned in ayah 89. وما كان لمؤمن أن يقتل مؤمنا إلا خطأ ومن قتل مؤمنا خطأ فتحرير رقبة مؤمنة ودية مسلمة إلى أهله إلا أن يصدقوا فإن كان من قوم عدو لكم وهو مؤمن فتحرير رقبة مؤمنة وإن كان من قوم بينكم وبينهم ميثاق فدية مسلمة إلى أهله وتحرير رقبة مؤمنة فمن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين توبة من الله وكان الله عليما حكيما. It is not for a believer to kill any believer except by mistake. Whoever kills a believer by mistake, then a believing slave has to be freed, and the blood money must be paid to his family unless they forego it. If the victim, belongs to a people hostile to you and is a believer, then a believing slave has to be freed. If the victim belongs to a people between whom you and there is a treaty, then blood money is to be paid to his family, and a believing slave is to be freed. Whoever does not find one has to fast for 2 consecutive months. This is repentance prescribed from Allah's side. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So killing by mistake means that the killer did not intend to kill the victim, but he was killed by an unintentional act. For example, he wanted to shoot an animal, but he missed the target and shot a human instead. Um, so if both the killer and the victim are Muslims in such cases, the killer has 2 obligations. So first, there is a kafara, in which he would have to free a Muslim slave, and if there is no slave, then he has to fast for 2 consecutive months. And secondly, he has to pay blood money, which is referred to as diya, to the heirs of the victim, and he will distribute them according to their shares and inheritance. So if the killer is a non-Muslim living in a Muslim country, he has to pay blood money only, and no kafara is obligated on him. ومن يقتل مؤمنا متعمدا فجزاؤه جهنم خالدا فيها وغضب الله عليه ولعنه وأعد له عذابا عظيما. Whoever kills a believer deliberately, his reward is Jahannam, where he shall remain forever, and Allah shall be angry with him and shall cast curse upon him, and Allah has prepared for him a mighty punishment. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا ضربتم في سبيل الله فتبينوا ولا تقولوا لمن ألقى إليكم السلام لست مؤمنا تبتغون عرض الحياة الدنيا فعند الله مغانم كثيرة كذلك كنتم من قبل فمن الله عليكم فتبينوا إن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. O you who believe, when you go out in the way of Allah, be careful and do not say to the one who offers you the salam, you are not a believer, to seek stuff of the worldly life. So with Allah there are spoils in abundance. In the same state you were before, then Allah favored you. So be careful. Surely Allah is all aware of what you do. In various incidents, some Sahaba radiallahu an, they killed various people during jihad. They pretended to be Muslims, either by saluting them by saying salam, uh, or by reciting the kalima. So the Sahaba radiallahu anh thought that they were doing so to save their lives during the battle. So in these incidents, their belongings were taken by those Sahaba as spoils of war. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he expressed his grave disapproval of these incidents, and this ayah was revealed to forbid the Muslims from such actions in the future. So when Allah says, with Allah there are spoils in abundance, is to warn that your desire for spoils of war must not tempt you to commit such acts. For Allah will give you a lot of spoils